My beloved child, you do not realize how deafening my silence can be until I stop speaking. And child, you are standing on the very edge of that silence right now. This is the kind of silence that does not echo, the kind that does not wait, and the kind that is no longer interested in bargaining with your hesitation. I have been patient with you for far longer than the time you have wasted. But listen to me closely, because this moment is not another motivational pause in your day. This is your last lifeline shaking in your hands. Pause now. Speak out loud. I choose you. I am commanding your soul to awaken from the numbness that you have mistaken for independence, because you do not have any cycles left to waste on disobedience that you have dressed up as delay. You keep thinking you will get one more sign, one more confirmation, one more night to think it over. But I am telling you that the countdown has already begun. I am not just knocking anymore. I am breaking down the door that separates you from the fire you didn't even know was burning beneath your feet. You have been staring at the wrong battles, while your real war has been spiritual, unseen, and getting more dangerous by the second. What I am revealing to you right now isn't just a poetic message. It is your exit route before your entire destiny is smothered by decisions you made in confusion. There is a storm coming that no human system will prepare you for, no friend will rescue you from, no bank account will shield you from, and no human strength will survive. I am the only way out, and that truth is not a metaphor anymore. It is the final headline being written over your life before the window seals shut. When the silence falls, it will not feel like peace. It will feel like a void, and that void will be the evidence of how long I spoke and how long you ignored me. This is not just your chance. This is the last minute of mercy screaming before consequence answers. I am not offering you an idea. I am offering you myself. And that offer will not extend past what your pride is trying to argue with right now. Right now, write down one thing you refuse to release. Then fold that paper and set an intention to surrender it this week. You have run from me because you feared what surrender would cost. But I tell you now, what you are about to lose if you hesitate is greater than anything I ever asked you to lay down. You are not being asked to understand, you are being told to respond. Delay is no longer an option. I command you not because I am angry, but because I love you too much to let you fall without a final cry. This cry is wrapped in urgency, soaked in tears, filled with the power of redemption, and branded with my blood. Child, the countdown has started, and I am your only way out, so do not make me whisper it again. You have no idea what almost swallowed you whole, because I intercepted it before you could see it coming, before it could touch the places in you that were already too fragile to survive another hit. While you were debating whether I was still near, I was wrestling the very forces that had planned to write your ending prematurely. I blocked what would have devoured your mind. I disrupted what was inches from turning your joy into permanent sorrow. You saw inconvenience, but I was setting up your rescue while you were still attached to the danger. You questioned why doors were slamming, not knowing that what stood on the other side was poison dressed in promises. You called it rejection, but it was me shielding your future from ruin. What tried to take your life wasn't an accident. It was a calculated attempt to erase your calling before it could gain momentum. But I stepped in. I interrupted the descent. I placed myself between your destiny and your destruction. Because even when you were careless with your choices, I remained careful with your purpose. You didn't feel me because you were numb, but I was never absent. I was standing in the way, bruised for what you refused to walk away from, bleeding for what you wouldn't let go of, battling in dimensions you don't even know how to pray about. Every spiritual attack that tried to bypass your defenses found my authority like a wall it could not breach. But hear me now. I did not rescue you just to watch you remain bound to the same pattern that nearly ended you. The shield has been active, but I won't keep it raised if you keep choosing chains over change. This is your window to understand that I didn't just save you. I replaced the verdict. I traded what was meant to bury you with a breakthrough so divine, it will look like a contradiction to everyone who thought it was over for you. Stand where you are and take one decisive step forward. Aloud declare, I will not return. But you must choose to walk through what I have opened. You must stop entertaining the familiar voices that tell you to wait, to doubt, to rethink what I've already made clear. There is no more room for double-mindedness, because you are standing on the edge of either submission or collapse, and the path forward is screaming for your full surrender. I've brought you to the place where what almost happened will never be spoken of again, but only if you don't turn back. What is ahead of you is sacred, but it is not automatic. It requires a decision that silences every voice that competes with mine. I will not force you because I already fought for you. I won't beg you because I already bled for you. And now I am standing again, not between destruction and deliverance, but between your will and mine. Choose wisely, because your delay now will not be met with the same silence as before. You have asked for clarity, and I am giving you a collision. This moment will either mark your uprising or your unraveling, because there is no middle ground left. What you do right now is going to echo through everything connected to your name. I have stepped in too many times for you to keep pretending that the enemy almost winning was just a coincidence. It was war, and I won it. But the victory becomes yours only when you decide that your loyalty belongs to me, not to what hurt you, not to what almost claimed you, and not to what felt comfortable while it drained you. This is the line. I am standing in it, and you are standing at it. Now walk through, or everything I blocked will come back louder, because next time I won't stand in the way unless I see your feet move in obedience. You thought your hesitation was harmless, but each time you paused, something unseen took another step closer to what belonged to you. Delay is not neutral in the spirit. It is an invitation for interference, and you unknowingly signed too many of them with your silence, your second guesses, and your misplaced loyalty to what was never from me. While you waited for certainty, the enemy capitalized on your indecision, whispering comfort into delay and deception into your discernment. You thought you were being cautious, but what you were really doing was allowing access to forces that only understand urgency, and they were faster than your fear. I watched as you made room for things I told you to reject, as you excused what should have been exposed, and as you coddled what needed to be cast out. Every minute you tried to think it through was a minute stolen from your appointed momentum. I didn't call you to figure it out. I called you to trust me. Because you didn't move when I spoke the first time, You are now standing in a moment that looks like pressure, but is really permission to exit the delay, to cut off the decay, to step away from the slow death that wears the face of comfort. You are holding an escape clause in your spirit, and I wrote it in bold red ink long before this war intensified. I crafted it with an authority that no force can override. But you have to activate it, not admire it. You can't afford to stay stuck just because you have adjusted to the rhythm of survival. You have normalized spiritual warfare so much that you think the chaos is a sign to endure, instead of a signal to depart. I am not trying to stretch you anymore. I am trying to remove you, and I don't mean casually. I mean urgently, instantly, and violently severing every tether to the terrain that has drained your soul. You have made peace with your prison by calling it a process. But I didn't place you there. Your delay did. And now I am unlocking the exit. But it won't stay open while you negotiate with fear, or while you cling to explanations I never owed you in the first place. This is not the time to reminisce about what might have been. This is the time to redeem what still can be. If you keep looking back, you will turn into the very thing you thought you escaped. A statue of potential paralyzed by what should have been surrendered. I need your full attention, child. Take 30 seconds. Breathe in, then blow out what holds you. Say, I release it now. This is the clause I embedded into your chaos. This is the door that bypasses every detour the enemy tried to force on your path. You have prayed for rescue, and now you are standing at the release. But it will not wait while you entertain every voice that doubts whether it is real. It is real. It is not when, it is now. But the expiration on this clause is not flexible. My mercy has no limit, but my strategies do. You missed windows before, because you thought I would always wait. But now I am showing you what it feels like to be at the threshold of the final invitation. That final love that never ends, but final access. Because what is ahead cannot afford the weight of what you refuse to leave behind. I have broken cycles, canceled patterns, and rerouted disasters, but this clause is your move. I won't drag you through it. I am offering you the terms. The moment you say yes with your entire soul, everything trying to hold you hostage will be silenced by my authority. But you must mean it this time. You must walk through with no backup plan. You must burn the bridge behind you so there is no return to the delay. It all must cost you everything. I am not rescuing you so you can repeat the same rhythms. I am calling you out because the time to move is down to its final breath. You can't look away anymore. Not when I have brought the very thing you tried to suppress right into your vision. Undeniable and raw. The version of truth that you diluted to make yourself comfortable has now risen in full stature, and it bears my authority, not your adjustments. No more filters, no more excuses, no more hiding behind spiritual language to cover up rebellion. This truth doesn't need to shout, it just stands unwavering, staring into the core of everything you have built on compromise. You tried to shape your journey around your emotions, but now my truth has taken the form of confrontation, and it is not here to negotiate. It is here to liberate you from the lies you accepted as part of your identity. You see, you thought you needed more time, more signs, more confirmations. But what you actually needed was the courage to face what I have been showing you all along. I have removed the shadows. I have exposed the systems. I have stripped away every layer that once helped you hide from what I am now revealing. The moment you saw it, your soul trembled, because deep down you knew this was coming. You have danced around obedience, played with alignment, and flirted with purpose without ever truly surrendering. But now the hour has ripped open, and what stands before you is not just truth. It is me. I am the truth. I am not the version you imagined when it was convenient. I am the fire that refines, the sword that cuts, and the voice that interrupts. I am standing here not to scare you, but to awaken you. Because what you refuse to look at in quiet moments is now blazing before you in undeniable clarity. This is your chance to stop editing what I have declared. You don't get to rewrite this revelation to fit your comfort zone. You either align or you get left behind in the illusion you built to protect your pride. I will compete with your fantasy. I have come to reveal the foundation, and everything false is shaking under my feet. You can either fall on your face and receive freedom, or keep standing in stubbornness and lose what I meant for glory. You thought I was distant when I was being patient. You thought I was delaying when I was actually giving you space to deal with yourself. But now that space has narrowed, and this moment isn't gentle, it is surgical. I am cutting the cords that connect you to false safety, and I am doing it with my word. What you are facing is not the end of grace, it is the beginning of clarity. I want you free, but I will not force you. I want you aligned, but I will not plead. I have spoken, I have revealed, I have waited, and now I am standing unmoved, present, and true. You can't pray your way around this. You must obey your way through it. You asked me to show you, and I have. You asked me to speak clearly, and I did. But now the question is, will you receive truth when it is not dressed in what you prefer? Will you follow me when I don't walk the route you had in mind? Will you say yes, even when yes costs you your comfort, your circle, and your control? Because this moment is holy. It is not emotional, it is eternal. What you choose in the next breath determines more than a mood. It determines the manifestation of the purpose I buried deep inside you before time itself knew your name. This is your mirror, and I am your reflection, not the you shaped by fear, but the you I created before shame ever entered the story. And now, child, look at me. See me. Let truth enter. Let it wreck what needs to go. Let it break the boxes. Let it cut the lies, because truth is not coming later. Truth is not waiting for your process. Truth is here right now, and it bears my name. I didn't hide it in symbols or bury it in riddles. I proclaimed it with a force that should have rattled every foundation you built without me. This time, I didn't speak in soft nudges or quiet convictions. I shattered silence with warnings that echoed through your dreams, disrupted your comfort, and stirred you at inconvenient hours. I wasn't trying to be mysterious. I was trying to be unmistakable, because I've seen how easily you tune out what doesn't fit your expectations. I've seen how you dismiss conviction when it interrupts your comfort. So I roared. I shook the stillness. I sent waves into your atmosphere, and yet even then, you tried to explain it away. You told yourself it was a coincidence, that it was just your imagination, that you would wait for more confirmation. But I wasn't trying to confirm. I was commanding. I was shifting the very air around your life, breaking patterns in your surroundings, shaking doors you weren't willing to open, and closing ones you kept forcing. I was loud for a reason, because I knew if I came to you softly again, you would tuck it under another to-do list and call it not the right time. But child, it was the right time. You were just too distracted to discern it. So I roared. I stirred the storms not to harm you, but to jolt you out of your spiritual slumber. I broke through routine. I interrupted cycles. I allowed interruptions you prayed against because they were the only way to reroute you from the destruction you didn't even see was forming behind the curtain. And still, with all of that noise, you hesitated. You thought deliverance would come wrapped in comfort, but I wrapped it in urgency. You wanted me to whisper again, but I had to raise my voice because this time the delay could have ended you. You thought I would always show up quietly like before, but this hour required the sound of war, the sound of heaven shaking the borders of hell that were encroaching on your territory. I wasn't loud for entertainment. I was loud for protection. I wasn't disruptive for drama. I was disruptive to call you out. Every thunderclap in your life lately was me drawing your attention to the exit I handcrafted for your escape. But even now, you are still looking for another sign when I've already written your way out in lightning across the sky of your chaos. You are still trying to weigh options when I've already removed all but one: obedience. You want me to speak in your language, but I've already spoken in mine, and it was loud enough to shake angels into movement. The truth is, you heard me. You just didn't like what I said. You felt me. You just weren't ready to let go of what I told you to walk away from. But I didn't thunder for no reason. I didn't shake your world to leave you confused. I did it because the enemy had been crafting a counterfeit calm around you, a quiet destruction, and I had to be louder than what was lulling you into spiritual sleep. So I thundered your deliverance. I screamed the way forward. I sent messengers. I sent dreams. I sent interruptions. I sent chaos that was mercy in disguise. And now, here you are at the crossroads where the sound of my voice is still ringing in the atmosphere. I won't whisper again because I already shouted. I won't keep circling the same message because I declared it loud enough to silence every excuse. Now the question is not, did you hear me? The question is, will you respond before the silence returns? The chaos of this was the final shout before the shift. I have thundered. The path is open. Step before the sound fades. You didn't need another map. You needed movement. And now I am not just offering you guidance. I am ordering your escape. I have seen your heart cry for clarity, and I have watched you sit at the crossroads waiting for a perfect plan that requires no risk, no faith, and no sacrifice. But direction is no longer your need. Obedience is. I've made the path so obvious, so unmistakably marked with divine signs, that to ignore it now would not be a mistake. It would be rebellion. This isn't about waiting on peace anymore. This is about choosing to move before everything collapses behind you. You have asked me to show you what to do, but now I am telling you that the time for asking is over. I am not consulting your fears. I am not negotiating with your comfort zone. I am commanding your next step because it is critical to your survival, to your purpose, and to everything tied to your name that hasn't even been revealed yet. There is a reason it feels heavy right now, because what is at stake is not light. You prayed for me to take over, and now that I have, you are hesitating at the tone of my voice. You are uncomfortable because I am no longer entertaining the illusion that you are in control. I have taken the lead, and where I go, hesitation cannot follow. You don't get to sit down in indecision when heaven has already mobilized on your behalf. I've dispatched assistance. I've arranged divine intersections. I've moved obstacles you never even knew were planted by the enemy to delay you. And now I am telling you to move, not because I need you to be perfect, but because I've already cleared what is ahead of you. You are still trying to feel ready, but readiness isn't a feeling. It is a response. And the longer you delay, the more ground you lose. You think this is about missing a moment, but it is deeper than that. This is about forfeiting the alignment I carefully orchestrated for you before time even touched your life. I didn't bring you this far to suggest a way out. I brought you here to command it. This isn't optional. I am not suggesting or hinting. I am declaring. And I won't change the tone just to accommodate your preference for slow transitions. This is fast. This is sharp. This is final. If you knew what was about to collapse behind you, you wouldn't question my urgency. If you could see the warfare I stopped, the disasters I blocked, the trauma I canceled, you would run into this moment with full force. But because you don't see it, I am demanding that you trust me anyway. You don't need to understand why I am rushing you. You need to trust that my urgency is your rescue. You have cried out in desperation, but now that deliverance is in motion, your silence threatens to sabotage it. Do not miss this turn because you are still checking with people who weren't there when I chose you. Do not ignore my voice because it doesn't sound like what you imagined. I am not a concept to debate. I am a king who commands. And I am commanding your exit from everything familiar that cannot hold what I am about to pour out. You want a gentle push, but I am giving you a divine shove because destiny doesn't wait for perfection. It only responds to surrender. I am not asking you to figure it all out. I am telling you to take the next step, even when it feels like the ground beneath it hasn't formed yet. Faith will not feel safe, but I have never let you fall when you move at my word. Right now, write a one-line vow. From today I will one action and place it where you will see it every morning. Start now. Go. Don't overthink. Don't rehearse what could go wrong. Don't beg me for another confirmation. I've said it. I've cleared it. I've declared it. Now walk and do not look back. You keep wondering where it all went. The years, the energy, the focus, the fire you once had. But child, it wasn't snatched from you by surprise. It was handed over piece by piece while you were too distracted to notice the transaction. You gave your strength to situations that couldn't carry you. You offered your loyalty to voices that were never sent to elevate you. You placed your trust in atmospheres that slowly drained your identity and then called the emptiness part of the process. But I am here to break the lie. What was lost was not the result of attack alone. It was the result of alignment with things that wore your attention thin, while your spirit cried in silence. You were too focused on maintaining what looked good on the outside, while your inner world was unraveling. You tried to sustain connections I never assigned because you feared the loneliness that would come with obedience. But in protecting what never carried my breath, you forfeited the very moments that were meant to propel you into purpose. Don't say the enemy robbed you, when what really happened is you gave too much of yourself to what couldn't feed what I placed in you. The delay you felt didn't just arrive, it was built every time you stayed longer than I told you to. It was fed every time you silenced conviction in favor of comfort. It was extended every time you said maybe later when I was saying move now. And now you are feeling the weight of what never deserved your yes. You poured into people who only took. You showed up for assignments that never carried your anointing. You managed what you were supposed to leave. And in doing so, you didn't just waste hours, you lost alignment. But I am not here to shame you. I am here to awaken you, because the time may be gone, but it is not unrecoverable. I am the restorer of moments that felt wasted. I am the God who redeems years that were mishandled. But first, I need you to stop calling what drained you divine. I need you to stop glamorizing the struggle that grew from your own resistance. You keep asking me to bless what I never built. You keep asking me to breathe on what I never touched. But I will not pour oil on idols. I will not empower dysfunction. I will not extend time to what has only produced torment. This is your hour of awakening, and it begins by realizing that what took your strength was something you gave permission to. That relationship that kept you anxious, you stayed. That routine that numbed your spirit, you chose it. That version of yourself that apologized for being chosen, you protected it. And now I am telling you, it ends here, because you are not just losing time, you are mismanaging access. You are still trying to balance destiny with distractions, but I've drawn the line in the spirit. You can't stretch yourself between what depletes you and what I've destined for you. There is no more middle. The gray has turned black or white, and every second you stay in between is a second you trade your fire for fog. I am not reminding you of this to punish. I am revealing it to release, because as soon as you acknowledge what you gave away, I will begin returning what you thought was gone forever. Not in the same form, not through the same paths, but through a divine acceleration that only comes when you finally release what I never told you to hold. The truth is, you didn't lose your time, you planted it in barren ground. And now I am calling you to uproot yourself from every unfruitful place and replant in the soil of surrender. Because the harvest isn't denied, it has simply been delayed by what you stayed connected to. Let go. Walk out or claim what is left, because I still have time to multiply what you thought was over, but only if you stop giving my breath to things I have already pronounced dead. What I destroyed was never meant to be mourned. It was meant to be forgotten. You didn't see the invisible snares that were wrapped around your next step, but I saw them, and I demolished them before they had a chance to tighten. I crushed what would have crippled your momentum and stripped away what was cloaked in favor but birthed in deception. The conversations that ended abruptly, the doors that refused to open, the friendships that suddenly felt foreign, none of it was coincidence. I intervened. I dismantled every setup designed to look like safety while preparing to suffocate you slowly. And I didn't ask your permission, because had I waited for your understanding, you would have clung tighter to what was manufactured to keep you stuck. I broke things in silence, because exposing the trap too soon would have made you sentimental for something that was about to steal from you again. You keep asking, why did that connection fade? Why did that path close? But I am telling you now, I severed it to save you. The enemy had planned your entanglement long before you recognized the pattern. But I went ahead of you. I disrupted the blueprint of bondage you didn't even know you were aligning with. But here is the danger. Not the trap I broke, but the temptation to return to what I already rescued you from. You are still reaching back with your thoughts, still wondering if maybe you misunderstood, still entertaining the idea that it wasn't that bad. But child, every glance backward risks rebuilding what I've just dismantled. The longer you stare at what I've buried, the louder it will seem to speak, not because it is alive, but because your focus is trying to resurrect it. You can't carry resurrection power and use it to revive what I killed to protect you. The escape wasn't just physical. It was mental, emotional, and spiritual. And you must not revisit what I have commanded you to release. If you look back, you invite confusion into clarity. If you revisit it, you reattach your destiny to decay. That path wasn't just unhealthy, it was unholy. It was robbing the vision I planted deep inside you. It was muting your discernment by coating lies with familiar smiles. It was masking spiritual warfare as emotional loyalty. But I saw beyond the masks. I heard the hidden agendas. I read the scripts written against you in secret places. And I interrupted them all with one word: enough. I didn't just break the trap, I removed its access to your future. But that removal only remains if you don't return out of nostalgia or fear. You don't need closure when I've given you confirmation. You don't need to explain your exit when I offered your escape. You don't need to grieve what I have already replaced in dimensions you haven't stepped into yet. Stop romanticizing what was poisonous. Stop dressing up bondage as belonging. You don't belong to what I've released you from. You don't owe loyalty to what was draining your oil. I have shattered the prison. Now don't keep walking around its ruins, trying to gather pieces to rebuild something that was always beneath the calling on your name. Looking back is not harmless, it is hazardous. It makes you double-minded. It splits your heart. It delays your journey. That is why I am warning you again. Don't look back. You can remember the lesson, but don't relive the location. You can testify of the escape, but don't step into the memory as if it still holds value. Kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. I am doing a new thing, and the new cannot coexist with nostalgia for what nearly broke you. What is ahead requires your full attention. What is unfolding needs your undivided focus. I already fought what you didn't see. I already broke what was planning to bind you. But now the next battle is not mine, it is yours, and it starts in the direction you choose to face. So let me make it clear. If you turn back, you will not find me there. I am not in the ruins. I am not in the regret. I am ahead, calling, guiding, waiting. Move forward and don't glance over your shoulder again. It is not loud, but it is lethal. It doesn't scream, but it suffocates. It disguises itself as something you can't let go of just yet, something you need a little more time to process, something you think you've got under control. But the truth is, it is bleeding you slowly, draining your strength, numbing your discernment, and dulling the sound of my voice. I never asked you to manage what I told you to release. You have been defending the very thing that has been dismantling your joy behind closed doors. It doesn't matter how good it looks on paper or how long it has been in your life. If I did not plant it, it is choking your purpose. You are not keeping it safe. You are keeping yourself stuck. You have wrapped it in loyalty, but it is coated in poison. You have called it part of the journey, but it is a dead weight that has grown roots. I am not asking you to heal it. I am asking you to remove it, because your soul cannot thrive in an environment you were meant to flee. It doesn't matter who approves of it. It doesn't matter how long you have known it. It doesn't matter what memories are attached to it. If I have told you it must go, then every second you delay is another second of self-inflicted spiritual erosion. You don't realize how much ground it has stolen while you've been trying to preserve its image. You don't see the silent erosion because you have grown used to the ache. You have mistaken heaviness for responsibility. But I didn't assign this burden. I am exposing it. And now that the light has touched it, you cannot unknow what I have revealed. There is no more hiding and justification. You have been carrying something that has been subtracting from you, and because it hasn't exploded, you have excused it. But I don't wait for explosions. I warn in stillness. And right now, this is your final alert. What you are protecting is plotting your delay. What you are excusing is executing your time. And you are almost out of it. You have asked me to heal what you refuse to let go of. But I am not in the business of fixing what I never authored. I am not bound to repair what your fear invited. You need to stop asking me to bless your defense of dysfunction, because this thing, this situation, this attachment, this compromise, it is not neutral. It has been working silently to weaken your spiritual structure so you can't carry what I am about to release. And I love you too much to let you pretend it is harmless. I am not negotiating with it, and I won't let you keep bargaining with what is bleeding you. Your future is suffocating under the weight of what you refuse to surrender. And I will not stand by while you water what is rooted in your ruin. You have minutes, not because I am trying to pressure you, but because time has reached the tipping point. I am not emotional about this. I am surgical. I am not sending opinions. I am sending orders. And if you truly belong to me, you know the tone has changed. This is not a suggestion. This is your final chance to drop what is draining your destiny before you are dragged into another unnecessary cycle of consequences. I tried to prevent. I've already made the way out. I've already cleared the exit, but you are still hugging the very thing that is waiting to betray you one more time. And this time, the wound will not just be emotional, it will be spiritual. I am pleading with you not from weakness, but from emergency. Your window is closing, and what waits on the other side of your obedience is something you can't afford to miss. I am not here to watch you repeat what I died to free you from. So hear me. You have got a choice to make in the next moment. Either you let go of what is slowly killing your fire, or you hand over your freedom in exchange for familiarity. I can't force your hands open, but I can show you what is about to fall apart if you don't release what never belonged. Don't protect your poison. Drop it. If you are ready, speak it now. I walk through. Let your voice be heard. Now, what you called peace was really a pause in chaos, not the presence of my promise. You labeled numbness as calm. You baptized your avoidance and called it wisdom. But what you were clinging to wasn't true rest. It was resignation disguised as control. I watched you convince yourself that just because it didn't hurt anymore, it must be healing. But pain isn't the only indicator that something is wrong. Sometimes what is most dangerous is what feels tolerable because it lulls you into stillness while your soul is starving. You taught yourself to breathe inside a broken system, and now you think the silence you have curated is spiritual when in fact it is suffocating your discernment. But I am tearing the veil. I am showing you that what you have been resting in was never me. It was a counterfeit comfort, a carefully crafted illusion meant to keep you dependent on false security. You don't need to medicate your peace with distractions anymore. I didn't call you to cope. I called you to conquer. I didn't bring you this far to watch you curl up in patterns that pretend to protect you. That imitation peace you have been holding on to has no foundation, no breath, no fire. It is hollow, and that is why it can't carry you into the next place. You tried to settle your spirit in temporary surroundings, thinking I would adjust to your lowered expectations. But I am not the God of compromise. I don't conform to your comfort zone. I build what is meant to go with you. And right now, I am shaking what you thought was stable to reveal that it was never secured in me. I didn't come to patch the false peace. I came to replace it. I am introducing you to the kind of rest that doesn't depend on circumstances, the kind of calm that lives even when the storm hasn't stopped, the kind of clarity that doesn't waver when opinions change. This is the real thing, and it will require you to release every imitation you have made into an idol. The way forward demands that you let go of every internal agreement you made with the idea that survival was enough. I never called you to survive through silence. I called you to stand in truth, but the lie you have been standing on is beginning to crack. And I let it because I won't let you build your life on what has no roots in me. I am showing you that false peace keeps you busy, not bold. It teaches you to settle, not to soar. It teaches you to numb your prayer life instead of igniting it. And I am pulling you out, even if it means disrupting what you thought was finally working. I will not let you stay married to what keeps you beneath the power I placed in you. You were made for weightier things. You were destined for more than managed silence. I am calling you into peace that doesn't perform, peace that doesn't pretend, peace that isn't fragile. You don't have to keep proving you are okay when I have already offered to be your strength. The trade is on the table, but you must hand me the illusion. Let go of the strategies you created to keep pain away. Let go of the compromises you called wisdom. Let go of the calm that required you to shrink your voice, dim your light, and silence your convictions. I am not in that. I was never in that. But I am here now, standing in front of you with the fullness of my peace in my hands, waiting for your surrender. You don't need to understand it. You just need to take it. You don't need to explain your delay. You just need to move. And if you truly want what is real, if you are tired of barely feeling alive while pretending to be at rest, then this is your moment. I am not competing with the imitation. I am replacing it. But I won't force my peace into a space already occupied by the counterfeit. Choose now. The real thing is waiting. You misread the silence. You misunderstood the delay. You assumed the closed door was my disapproval. But what you called punishment was actually me barricading danger with my own body. I didn't withhold to wound you. I withheld to shield you. There were things you wanted so desperately that had you received them, they would have shattered everything pure I've been cultivating within you. There were connections you cried over that I removed because their presence would have infected the very call on your life. You didn't see the compromise ahead. You didn't hear the conversations spoken in rooms where your name was only mentioned for manipulation. But I did. I watched. I stepped in. I redirected. I blocked access. And I did it all without asking your permission, because your destiny is too weighty to be gambled by your momentary emotions. I love you too much to let you walk blind into something that would have paralyzed your growth. What felt like rejection was really redirection. What looked like delay was actually divine disruption. But because you were looking through the lens of disappointment, you thought I was being harsh when I was actually being holy, preserving you in places where compromise almost entered undetected. I don't protect casually, I protect fiercely. And sometimes that protection looks like a silence that stretches longer than your patience. Sometimes it looks like the removal of people you thought were permanent. Sometimes it looks like me allowing plans to collapse just when you were ready to step in. But every no from me was a never in disguise, a never to destruction, a never to deceit, a never to decay. I am not punishing you, I am preparing you by pruning you. And pruning always feels like loss when you have grown attached to the branch I am cutting. You have been grieving the shift, not realizing the shift was salvation. The very thing you thought was cruel was actually crafted with the kind of love that is willing to be misunderstood if it means preserving what is eternal in you. My love doesn't always feel soft. It doesn't always sound soothing. Sometimes it disrupts, divides, and dismantles because I would rather break your expectation than watch you build a future on soil I didn't approve. You prayed for me to take control. I did. But my control doesn't always look like ease. It looks like war in the spirit realm that rearranges what you thought was settled. It looks like sudden exits. It looks like walls you can't climb and doors you can't kick down. But behind those barriers is not my absence. It is my covering. I stood between you and sabotage. I stood between you and the counterfeit. I stood between you and the trap that was dressed up as opportunity. You don't have to thank me now, but one day you will look back and realize that what I blocked saved you from losing yourself completely. I am not just interested in your now, I am preserving your next. I didn't let you attach to what was convenient because I saw what it would have cost you in the long run. This was never punishment. This was the fierce love of a father who guards what he anoints. You are not being punished, you are being protected. But now that I have cleared the way, you must move with the urgency that matches what I have preserved for you. Don't treat this like an optional moment. This is a holy interruption. This is me calling you out of mourning over what I have already removed. Let it go. What you lost wasn't yours. It was a distraction that learned how to blend in with your prayers. You don't have to climb higher to find me. You just have to stop ignoring the clarity embedded in your collapse. I met you at the point where you finally stopped pretending to be fine. I stepped in the second you dropped the script you had been performing for everyone else. The moment your soul whispered, "I can't do this anymore," was the very second heaven roared, "Now I can begin." I do my greatest work in the aftermath, not the spotlight. So stop waiting for a cleaner stage. I am not performing rescue. I am commanding rebirth. And it begins with your surrender, not your strategy. You have been walking in circles trying to feel ready, but you missed the truth. I never needed your readiness. I needed your realness. I didn't ask you to come perfect. I asked you to come honest. And your honesty has opened something in the heavens. That place where you broke down, that is where I am building from. That situation that nearly stole your breath, That is where I have buried a blueprint you haven't seen yet. But here is what you must understand. The longer you deny what that breaking was for, the longer you will delay what I plan to birth from it. I have already drawn the map, and it is not complicated. It feels uncomfortable because what I have asked you to walk into requires you to walk away from everything that gave you identity outside of me. The pain revealed what needed to go. The pressure exposed what was never built on my word. Here's the clearest sign you have been looking for. You are still breathing. You are still standing. And the exit you've been praying for is not miles away. It is right here, directly under your feet. You do not need more signs. You do not need more voices confusing you. You simply need to stop doubting the one who carried you through the very things that tried to finish you. I want you to know that I place the solution inside the storm. I engrave the direction right into the middle of your confusion. I did not allow this to happen to test you. I allowed it to train you. You will never learn to see my hand if you keep waiting for it to only come through comfort. You are not lost, my child. You are being led. Even when it doesn't feel like guidance, even when all you have is the echo of the last word I spoke to you. That is exactly where true faith begins. It is in this space, this quiet gap between your collapse and my command, that your real story is actually starting. So, no more pretending like you didn't hear me. No more asking me to make it easy when I have already made it obvious. I wrote the way out with fire, not with feathers. I carved it into the very pain that brought you to your knees. That breaking you felt was not random bad luck. It was revelation. It was sacred. And now that it has done its work, now that it has broken down the false foundations and shattered the fragile supports you were leaning on, all that is left is me calling your name from the center of the storm you thought would bury you. I am not hiding your rescue. I have laid it bare across your brokenness. Step forward. The way out is not ahead in the distance. It is here, right now, beneath your feet, written in the ashes and edged in glory. Move. There is no space left for second guessing. This is not a gentle moment wrapped in endless options. This is a divine confrontation. It is a moment that demands a decision so immediate that even a heartbeat of hesitation could cost you more than you know. What I have prepared is not hanging in the distance. It is waiting in the now. But it cannot remain where there is uncertainty. Breakthrough does not dwell in indecision. It waits for movement. And when movement doesn't come, it passes to the next surrendered soul, who is ready to carry what you were too afraid to reach for. I am not threatening you. I am awakening you, because you have cried too long for something you are now standing right in front of. You fasted for this. You pleaded for this. You whispered in secret rooms for me to make a way. And now I have done it. But the doorway is not going to sit open forever. It is not because I am cruel. It is because what is on the other side of this door is calibrated for this exact moment. I synchronized people, places, and timing, all for the delivery of what was promised over you before your first breath. This is not random. This is not emotional. This is eternal fulfillment knocking at your door. And if you pause to negotiate your feelings again, you will miss what I aligned angels to release. You keep asking for confirmation, but what you actually need is courage. Because this is not about figuring everything out. It is about following me with the kind of abandon that terrifies your flesh, but liberates your spirit. I didn't just prepare the outcome. I prepared you. But hesitation will lie to you. It will dress itself up as wisdom when it is really fear in disguise. It will ask you to wait just a little longer. Think a little harder. Pray a little more. But underneath those words is the strategy of delay working to dismantle your destiny. You have lingered long enough in thought. You have looped through cycles of planning, and now your obedience must be louder than your doubt. You will not walk into what is next while dragging the heavy weight of indecision. Breakthrough comes where boldness lives. I am not waiting on your confidence. I am waiting on your yes. The moment your feet match your faith, the doors will swing open, and what felt impossible for years will break in seconds. But make no mistake, the window for this movement is narrow. It was never meant to be held loosely. It is time-sensitive because the deliverance coming through it is layered with the lives of others who are attached to your obedience. This is not just about you. This isn't just for your healing. This is generational alignment, legacy restoration, and kingdom release, all converging into one divine collision. But that collision won't wait forever. And if you stand still now, what you once called my moment will become a memory instead of a miracle. You were made for this minute, and yet this minute is only yours if you act within it. The danger of hesitation is that it feels innocent, but its cost is severe. One more delay, and what I assigned for this hour will not be repeated. It is not about punishment, it is about timing. My glory is still yours. My presence is eternal. But this specific assignment is tied to a window that is about to close. Don't let your overthinking convince you that you are being careful when you're actually being robbed. Don't let your feelings sabotage your future. You don't need full clarity to move. You need full trust. I didn't ask you to have all the answers. I asked you to believe the one who does. This is the moment you either step forward or step aside, because the weight of what is coming cannot be carried by the half-committed. And I will not force what should be willingly received. If you hesitate now, you are not just delaying destiny. You are dismissing what I just handed you. Reach out, step in, seize what I just released, or stand back and watch it pass into the hands of someone who didn't flinch when I called their name. You didn't realize how entangled you had become, not just with people or situations, but with the very thoughts and attachments that were eating away at your focus, one compromise at a time. You were praying for clarity, but you were feeding confusion. You were asking me to come closer, but you were still entertaining every voice that competed with mine. So I turned up the pressure, not to punish you, but to remove what you wouldn't walk away from voluntarily. The pressure you felt wasn't an attack, it was precision. It wasn't cruelty, it was consecration. I allowed the intensity, not because I wanted you to suffer, but because I needed everything that could be shaken to fall off. And when you didn't listen to the quiet warnings, I turned the volume up. When subtle conviction didn't break the cycle, I permitted discomfort to do what peace could not, to dismantle what was slowly seducing your attention away from your assignment. You didn't see how much energy was leaking into things I never asked you to maintain. You kept holding on to connections that I had already closed in the spirit, nurturing distractions like they were responsibilities, defending patterns that had already expired. And when I whispered, you ignored me. When I nudged you, you paused. So I let the walls close in, not to destroy you, but to deliver you from the false stability you made an idol out of. You thought you were under attack, but you were under refinement. I had to apply pressure because ease had made you dull. You weren't praying like you used to. You weren't listening like you once did. You began to normalize a version of you that could function with minimal presence. And I love you too much to let you live in that shadow. I wanted the fire back in your bones, the hunger back in your soul, the urgency back in your steps. But to ignite it, I had to strip away the comforts that kept you sedated. Yes, it was hard. Yes, it felt relentless. But it was sacred. Because while you were focused on the external collapse, I was working on an internal awakening. The tightness you felt was me removing idols. The discomfort was me uprooting what you once called necessary, but I called noise. You asked for elevation, but elevation requires elimination. You asked for overflow, but I will not pour into hands that are still gripping what should have been surrendered. So I brought the pressure. I let time run out on the things you were trying to stretch. I interrupted what you thought would last forever. And I did it quickly, because time has become too precious. You are no longer in a season of gentle redirection. You are in a season of divine acceleration. And acceleration requires full capacity. Kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. I couldn't allow your energy to keep being siphoned by what was secretly stealing from you. I had to crush the comfort that was killing your calling. I had to expose the lies you learned to live with. The pressure purified you. It made you confront your priorities and forced you to choose. And that choice, the one you kept delaying, is now being required in full. You cannot carry distraction and destiny in the same hands. I need your full attention now. No more divided heart. No more bargaining with comfort. No more waiting for a softer push. The pressure wasn't me leaving you. It was me leading you back to what matters. I never stepped away. I leaned in closer, deeper, more directly than ever before. And now that the distractions have shattered, now that the false layers have peeled back, now that the excuses have run dry, I am asking for your complete yes. Not the version with loopholes, not the version that waits for consensus. The kind of yes that rises from the ashes of everything I burned away. This was never about what you lost. It was always about what I was making room for. The pressure was mercy. And now that you have felt it, don't go back to what dulled you. Run toward what refined you. You looked at the waiting as if it was rejection. You interpreted the silence as abandonment. You questioned my love when the timeline didn't bend to your expectations. But I never withheld what was yours. I was constructing a route that required your transformation, not just your desire. You thought I was saying no when I was actually saying not yet, because you were not ready to carry what I am about to release. You kept pacing back and forth, assuming I had forgotten. But what you couldn't see was how many layers I was protecting you from. How many premature entrances I blocked because they would have crushed you with their weight. I don't give you destiny without first designing you to handle it. And what you called wasted time was me rearranging entire atmospheres to make sure that when you stepped into the next season, it wouldn't collapse underneath your character. You saw doors remain shut, but I saw an identity still under construction. I saw pride still hiding beneath performance. I saw fear still lingering behind decisions dressed up as discernment. And so I waited, not because I wanted to punish you, but because I wanted to preserve you. I knew that if I gave it to you too soon, it would become a burden instead of a blessing. You would have settled into a version of success that looked good to others, but was quietly destroying your soul. So I delayed. And in that delay, I was deepening your roots. I was stripping away false dependencies. I was allowing discomfort to sharpen your discernment, because the path I have called you to cannot be walked by someone who is still asking for approval from the very voices I have removed. You have outgrown the space where you used to fit, but until now, you kept trying to shrink back into it. That's why the delay felt heavy. Not because I wasn't working, but because I was waiting for you to outgrow what was never meant to contain your purpose. And now that the stretching has done its work, now that you are no longer looking to the old for validation, I am opening what I have been preparing. But don't let bitterness distort the blessing. Don't let impatience blind you to the beauty of what I finally finished building. Just because it took longer than you expected doesn't mean it is any less miraculous. You weren't forgotten. You were being fortified. And now, as the path reveals itself, I need you to walk with boldness. Not arrogance, but confidence rooted in the truth that I never stopped moving. Even when you couldn't track me, I was tracing every step, every detour, every tear-soaked night and buried prayer. I folded them into the blueprint. Nothing was wasted, not even your doubt, because I used it to expose the places where you were leaning on your own logic instead of my leading. Every delay had divine fingerprints on it. Every closed opportunity was marked with a redirection stamp from heaven. And now that the appointed time has come, hesitation cannot follow you forward. This is not the hour to question whether it is real. This is the moment to embrace that I was real the whole time. Even when the path was hidden, especially then. So walk, not with the limp of regret, but with the stride of someone who has been kept for such a time as this. The delay wasn't denial, it was development. The path didn't vanish. It was waiting for your surrender to become strong enough to walk it. And now here it is, open, glowing, waiting for your yes. But don't glance over your shoulder anymore. Don't bring old timelines into new territory. What is ahead will not resemble what came before. And that is the proof it is me. I do not recycle destiny, I resurrect it. And I am calling you to step into what I never denied, only delayed, until you are ready to carry it with the humility and fire it requires. There is still time, but not like before. This is not the kind of time that stretches. It is the kind that snaps shut when it is ignored. You have spent too many seasons assuming that windows stay open forever, that opportunities repeat on an endless loop, that mercy is a license to postpone obedience. But this isn't one of those moments. This is the door I held open longer than you realize. A door that has held back what should have already fallen. A door I have kept unlocked with my own hand while you wrestled between your preferences and my instruction. And now the door is creaking, not out of weakness, but because the hinge of divine timing is preparing to move. This door is not just symbolic. It is literal in the spirit. On the other side of it is the access you have cried for, the clarity you have begged me to reveal, the release from systems that have kept your soul in silent captivity. But the door will not wait while you finish negotiating with what cannot come with you. You are not too late yet. But the yet is fragile. You feel it in your chest. You feel it when you try to sleep. You feel it every time you pretend you didn't hear me. And that feeling is the final alert that the threshold is here. I haven't closed it. I have kept it wide. But your hesitation is not neutral. Every second you stare instead of step, you are gambling with what I aligned with precision. The convergence you are standing in is rare. It is not emotional hype. It is eternal consequence. And I didn't bring you to this threshold to watch you admire it. I brought you here to walk through, knowing full well that everything behind you will never be the same. This is not just about blessing. This is about fulfillment, the kind that only activates when trust overrides comfort. You have asked me for a way out. This is it. But it doesn't look like ease. It looks like surrender. It feels like risk. It moves like fire, because what is beyond this door cannot mix with delay. I have already instructed angels concerning your passage. I have already shifted terrain for your landing. I have already canceled the whispers that said it was too late. But what I won't do is carry you across a door you refuse to approach. I gave you strength to walk. I gave you revelation to recognize the moment. And now I am giving you the final choice. Step through or stay behind. You will never be abandoned. But you may miss what was specific to this hour if you let fear make the decision again. This door is marked with things your eyes have never seen, but your spirit already knows they belong to you. You have dreamt of this moment without even realizing what you were dreaming. And now it is here, open, waiting, shaking with urgency. But it won't remain still. What I have orchestrated is on a timer. Not because I am pressuring you, but because divine alignment is never casual. The voice is telling you to wait longer, to gather more information, to make sure everything feels safe. Those voices are not from me. I have already made the way. I have already confirmed the call. I have already sent provision into the future waiting to meet your yes. And now your movement must answer the moment. You are not too late. But if you pause again, what was yours will be reassigned to someone willing to respond. I don't need perfection. I need your feet to move. I don't need another question. I need your agreement. You have come too far to stand still now. This is not a checkpoint. This is a passageway. You have been measuring this moment through the lens of your own emotions, your own fears, your own desires. But what is unfolding now was never limited to just your life. What stands before you is a decision that carries consequences far beyond your name, far beyond this year, far beyond anything you can currently comprehend. This moment is generational. It is layered with the weight of legacy. The ripple effect of your obedience will shape atmospheres you will never live long enough to see. And just the same, your refusal to move could birth spiritual famines in places where I intended rivers to flow. You think the hesitation only affects your schedule, but it is writing stories that were meant to bloom through your yes. There are chains waiting to be broken because of the door I have placed in front of you. There are curses scheduled to be shattered the moment you walk through. There are patterns that have cycled through bloodlines for decades, and I have chosen you to be the interruption. But interruption always comes with a cost. You must understand, my child. I didn't just place you in this moment to survive it. I planted you here as a divine disruptor, a seed of revolution, a breaker of cycles, a voice that doesn't just echo pain, but releases healing. But for that to be fulfilled, you must stop thinking like someone who is trying to escape. You are not escaping. You are establishing. You are setting foundations in motion that will carry my glory through your children's children and beyond. And that is why the pressure has been so heavy. Because the weight you are carrying isn't just yours, it is prophetic inheritance. You have been weeping, not realizing that your tears were watering the ground of the very territory I am giving you. You have been exhausted, not because you are weak, but because your spirit has been wrestling with spiritual structures, trying to stop the birth of something far greater than what is visible. But now, I am revealing what is truly at stake. If you retreat now, you won't just delay your own growth. You allow dysfunction to remain comfortable in rooms I have asked you to reform. If you shrink now, you will empower what was supposed to expire. I need you to see this with spiritual clarity. You are a bridge, a lifeline, a turning point. The decision you make now will either release glory or extend grief in the lineage connected to you. You have been chosen to end what swallowed others whole. You have been called to answer prayers prayed long before you were born. Your life is not random. Your battle has been fierce because your impact is generational, but you cannot afford to treat this like a personal inconvenience. This is a divine assignment, and the door I have opened carries a scroll attached to your legacy. If you walk through, they will multiply what you thought was small. If you say yes, I will breathe on what seemed insignificant. But if you bow to fear again, if you hand this moment over to comfort, then what was meant to break free will remain locked. Not because I withheld it, but because you hesitated when heaven was ready. This is the hour where the ripple becomes a tidal wave, where obedience echoes through future rooms, where your yes opens wells that your children will drink from. They won't even know what you battled for them to walk in peace, but they will live in the harvest of what you chose in secret. And so I am asking you again, will you move for more than just yourself? Will you act like a gatekeeper for generations? Will you become the one who says, it ends with me, and everything new begins with me? Because that is what I see when I look at you. A builder, a warrior, a turning point. If you are listening, say it out loud. Yes. Make no mistake. The weight of your yes is not just yours. It belongs to everyone who will bloom because you finally said it. You have no idea how close destruction came to succeeding against you. You cannot comprehend how many strategies were deployed against you. Carefully calculated delays, sudden betrayals, invisible torment sent to steal your fire slowly. But I stood in front of every force, not because you were flawless, but because you are mine. You think you survived by strength, but it was mercy that blocked the collapse. Time and time again, you walked through places where others drowned. You stood in moments where your mind should have fractured. You navigated days where darkness pressed in, but somehow you were still breathing by nightfall. That wasn't luck. That was me. I have seen every unseen arrow, every whisper spoken against your name in hidden corners, every pit disguised as opportunity. I allowed you to feel pressure, but I never let it become destruction. You felt the wind of it. You saw the outline of it in your dreams, but it didn't land. It didn't finish its assignment because I overruled it. And I didn't overrule it because you begged me to. I did it because I still have plans for you that hell has no authority to rewrite. You have made mistakes. I have seen every detour you took trying to figure it out on your own. But even in the chaos, I never withdrew my promise. I never changed my mind about your calling. I didn't rescue you to simply restore you to where you were. I am calling you to begin building from the ruins of what tried to bury you. And that is why I am speaking now, because the time for wandering is over. The time for guilt is done. The time for shame has expired. Take a breath and write down one thing you will release today. Commit to it with a single sentence. Do it now. You think you are too broken to be useful, but I only use what has been crushed enough to let me rebuild it. I am not here to remind you of your lowest moments. I am here to awaken the truth that you were carried through them because your story still has breath left in it. I don't need your perfection. I need your permission. I am not asking for a flawless resume. I am asking for a surrendered heart. You are still alive, not just to say you made it, but to finally understand that I want to build something with you that lasts beyond trends, beyond seasons, beyond applause. Something eternal, something weighty, something the enemy fears you will discover. That is why the warfare intensified every time you got close to healing. That is why things always seem to fall apart the moment you found clarity. Because the adversary has known all along what you kept doubting. That your yes would carry power. If you mean it, whisper to me now, I give you permission. Let that be the first move of surrender. But child, I didn't just block the enemy. I preserved your hands for the tools I am about to place in them. I have protected the territory you don't even realize is waiting for your footsteps. There are assignments only your voice can release. People whose deliverance is tied to your alignment. Regions that are waiting to respond to your faith. You were never called to simply survive what tried to kill you. You were called to build in the exact place where fear tried to silence you. The soil that held your pain will now host your promise. But it starts with understanding. I didn't just hold back what was meant to destroy you. I reserved it. You could return stronger, clearer, emptied of everything that didn't belong in the foundation. I am laying with you now. You won't build with pride. You won't build with insecurity. You will build with fire, with wisdom, with clarity, born in the secret place. I protected your process so you could carry the authority to create what reflects me. Not religion, not tradition, but revival. I am not done with you, not even close. And this moment, this breath you are still holding, is proof that the building hasn't even begun yet. Let's start now together. You asked me to speak. You begged me to reveal. You whispered into the dark, show me what to do. But you expected answers wrapped in comfort. You were looking for soft signals, peaceful confirmation, agently nudge toward clarity, but I don't always speak through calm skis. Sometimes isn't wins. Sometimes is shake what feels steady. Sometimes I pull the ground from under what you built so you will finally realize. I was never in it. You didn't miss my voice, you misread I wasn't silent. I was shouting through the chaos. I was roaring through the losses. I was rearranging everything you thought you needed so I could reveal what was truly mine. You called it instability. I called it intervention. You called it confusion. I called it confrontation. Because what is stirred wasn't meant to scare you. It was designed to awaken you. You had grown to a quiet in the presence of compromise. You had settled into routines that muted your discernment. You stopped asking questions because you assumed I was done speaking. But I will never be silent when your future is at stake. So I allowed disruption. I allowed it to sweep through your plans like a wave crashing into a fragile structure. Not to punish you, but to expose what was never built on me. You wanted a sign. I gave you a storm that refused to be ignored. And even then, I was gentle in my severity. I didn't allow the storm to consume you, only to confront the comfort that was killing your calling. I flipped what you idolized. I closed the path you clung to. I frustrated every effort to return to what I already ended. You thought everything was falling apart, but it was really falling into place. I know the language of your soul. Kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. I know when you are pretending to be content while secretly craving more. So I stirred the stillness because if I didn't interrupt it, you would have stayed. You would have kept performing peace while dying inside. And I love you too deeply to let your false version of peace become your prison. That is why I have been relentless. That is why everything changed so quickly. Not because I changed my mind, but because I have been waiting for you to change your posture. You are not being punished, you are being pursued. I am not here to be comfortable. I am here to be clear. You said, God, just show me. And now I am showing you through the unraveling of what you thought would never end. I am speaking in patterns collapsing, in relationships closing, in sudden unrest you can't explain. All of it is me pointing in one direction. Forward. Away from what numbed you, away from what distracted you, away from what slowed the flame inside you that used to burn with unshakable purpose. I didn't come to bring more signs. I came to bring strategy. But strategy only works if you respond. And if you wait for the storm to disappear before you decide, you will miss the entire message. I am not waiting for the clouds to clear, I am speaking through them. You have already heard me. You have already felt the shift, you've already tasted the turning. Now act like you are aware, move like you have seen it, obey like your future depends on it because it does. Don't keep asking for another confirmation when the winch have already pushed you to the edge of transformation. You are not being swept away, you are being positioned. What you thought was instability was really acceleration. What looked like a storm was actually your answer in motion. And now that the noise has risen, don't run from it. Listen, stand, trust. Because I am the one who commands both thunder and whisper. And this time I thundered so you would never forget that I am still guiding you, even through the gale. Every moment you believed I had gone quiet, I was actually speaking in a frequency that reached deeper than your ears. You were looking for audible answers, waiting for something you could write down or quote. But I was answering your cries with action. My presence didn't vanish. It multiplied. I wasn't gone. I was everywhere. In the shift in your atmosphere, in the uneasiness that refused to let you settle, in the delays you cursed and the detours you didn't understand. You labeled the silence as abandonment, but what you couldn't see was how intensely I had wrapped myself around you. I didn't stand in front of you shouting. I stood behind you blocking attacks. I was whispering in your sleep, pressing on your chest with the weight of purpose you tried to ignore. You called me distant because I wasn't doing things your way. But if you could have seen what I was doing just outside your reach, the enemies I silenced, the closed traps that never opened, the collisions I prevented, you would never again confuse quiet with absence. I do not need noise to be near. I do not need words to be working. Sometimes I fall silent, only so the room around you gets quiet enough for you to hear your own soul screaming for me. And I meet you there. Not always in language, but in atmosphere. My glory filled the space, even when you said, God, where are you? I was there when no one else showed up. I was present when the conversation ended and your spirit fell into exhaustion. I was in the ache, in the questions, in the invisible shield that held your mind together when you were seconds away from collapse. You wanted me to speak louder, but I was revealing myself in ways that bypassed language. I was ministering in motion, not just message. You wanted dialogue, but I was giving you deliverance. You assumed I was delaying, but I was creating distance between you and destruction. You didn't hear a voice because I was becoming a force, a barrier, a wall between what was coming for you and the assignment I have spoken over you since before you were formed. The reason you didn't feel me the way you used to is because I was operating beyond your familiar. I was stretching your faith to a place where you had to trust without proof, follow without a sign, believe without a blueprint. I did this not to frustrate you, but to free you, to unhook you from needing constant reassurance and bring you into a maturity that knows my presence even when the volume drops. That is what this season has been. Not abandonment, but advancement. A sacred upgrade that required you to stop clinging to emotional highs and start standing on what I already said. You don't need goosebumps to confirm I am with you. You need stillness. You need silence that you don't rush to fill. You need to remember I am the God who spoke galaxies into place with breath alone. And if I choose to wrap you in my presence without saying a word, it is not because I am withholding love. It is because my nearness no longer needs translation. I am teaching you to recognize me when everything else goes quiet. That is the mark of someone who walks with me, not how loud they can shout, but how still they can stand when I cloak them in mystery. And I have been doing just that. Not to leave you lost, but to develop within you an awareness that is unshaken by silence. Because, my child, silence isn't distance. Silence is strategy. It is how I recalibrate your spirit to receive what ears cannot carry. I wasn't quiet because I stopped speaking. I was drawing you deeper so you could start discerning. And now that you have made it through, now that you stayed when it felt like I wasn't there, I am lifting the veil. What was hidden will become unmistakable. What was unspoken will soon explode into clarity. But remember this always. My silence was not rejection. It was the sound of me surrounding you so completely, so fiercely, that the enemy never had a chance to get a word in. What you have been longing for, begging for, journaling about in the dark, it isn't some unreachable dream floating in the distance. It is already here. It is not waiting in another season. It is not hiding behind a new year or the next opportunity. It is standing before you right now, fully formed, clearly marked, undeniably real, and it is only waiting on your decision. You have called it impossible because you have been measuring it through fear. You have treated it like a wish because your history taught you to distrust anything that didn't come through pain. But I didn't design your way out to look like torment. I placed it so close that all it requires now is courage. You want me to carry you into freedom, but I placed the gate within reach, not so you could ask me to move it, but so you could rise and walk through it. It is not fantasy. It is faith that has been ignored. It is action that has been postponed by overthinking. You heard my instructions. You sensed the urgency. But because you couldn't see all the steps, you questioned whether any of it was real. You let fear convince you that anything requiring risk must be irresponsible. But the safest thing you can do right now is obey. Even when it looks uncertain. Even when it feels unsteady. You have been waiting for peace to arrive in the form of perfect clarity. But peace won't descend until obedience goes first. I have already positioned everything. I have already scattered every hindrance that once blocked you. I have removed the false coverings, the distractions dressed up as opportunities, the voices that once kept you dependent on their approval. And now the only thing standing between you and your next is your unwillingness to believe it is real. The exit is not a distant hope. It is a doorway, and it is glowing with a fire only heaven could ignite. If you choose now, speak it. Now I step through. Say it boldly. Then share this message with someone who needs to step. 2. But I will not push you through it. I will not force you to choose what I have already revealed. I gave you free will, not so you could negotiate with destiny, but so you could align with it voluntarily. Your escape is not a reward for your endurance. It is a product of your trust. If you keep waiting for the moment to feel right, you will miss what is right in front of you. The door will not wait forever while you consult your past. You must decide, will you stay in what is familiar, even if it is failing you? Or will you move toward the unknown where I have already gone ahead? You are not trapped, you are being invited. This isn't some far-off dream meant for someone else. It is your time, and the path has already been laid brick by brick. Revelation by revelation, prayer by prayer. The clarity you are looking for won't come by staring at the door. It will be revealed when you walk through it. The provision will meet you mid-step. Your alignment will confirm itself on the other side. But right now, you must choose. This isn't about emotional breakthrough. It is about spiritual obedience. It is about refusing to let fear narrate the story I have authored. It is about deciding once and for all that your freedom is worth more than your comfort. I am not offering escape as a possibility. I am declaring it as a reality. You are the only one who can reject it. The enemy can't close this door. The past can't revoke your access. Regret can't lock its hut. The only thing that can stop this moment is your decision to stay where you were never meant to remain. You have asked for signs. He gave you an open way. You have asked for deliverance. I placed it within your grasp. You have asked for timing. I answered with now. Not someday, not later, now. Will you keep waiting for a softer sentence when I have already handed you release papers soaked in the blood of sacrifice? You are free to walk. You are able to choose. And the path, the real path, is not a dream you keep chasing. It is the doorway you have been circling, too afraid to enter. But now fantasy is freedom, and it is yours if you want it. You have been trying to earn what was always meant to be received. You have spent time polishing your image, editing your voice, filtering your wounds to appear acceptable, thinking that if you present me with something flawless, I will be more likely to move. But I am not asking you to perform. I am asking you to surrender. You have waited until you feel ready, but readiness was never the requirement. Agreement was, what I'm looking for is not the perfected version of you that has it all figured out. I am looking for the heart that says, even here I let you lead. I know every mistake. I know the chapters you buried. I have watched the moments you disqualified yourself while still quoting my promises. But I never asked you to repair yourself before coming to me. I simply asked you to come. The path I want to build requires your presence, not your performance. I am not impressed by your effort to pretend you have got it under control. I am moved when you admit you don't. I am not standing with a checklist, waiting to count how many days you stayed consistent. I am standing with a blueprint that has been paused, just waiting for your signature at the bottom that says, "Yes, Lord, have your way." You think your failure disqualified you, but I never built my plans on your perfection. I factored in your flaws before you ever walked into them. And still, I chose you. Still, I designed this exact moment with you in mind. But until you give me full access, not just the version you present in worship, but the raw, tired, uncertain parts you hide, I cannot write what is next. I will not force the pen from your hand. I won't override your free will. I won't push past the doors you have locked. I have been knocking gently, not because I am unsure of my authority, but because I respect the boundaries you have built, even when they have kept me out. But it is time to release the grip on your narrative, time to let go of your need to control the outcome. Time to trust that the pages you regret can be redeemed when placed in the hands of the author who never lost track of your plot. You have been rehearsing the past like it is your only reference point, but I am trying to write a future that doesn't echo what hurt you. You want me to guide you while you cling to the pen, but it doesn't work like that. I won't co-author your destiny while you continue writing with ink dipped in fear, pride, or guilt. I need the full manuscript of your heart, even the unfinished parts. I need permission to go back to the scenes you skipped, the chapters you rushed through, the moments you abandoned too soon. Because I am not just taking you forward, I am redeeming everything behind you, too. But I need your yes, not the kind you whisper with doubt in your voice. Not the kind you give only when it makes sense. I need the kind of yes that hands me your plans with open palms. The kind that says, even if it looks different than I expected, I trust you more than I trust what I have built. You have looked at your life and said, it is too late to fix this. But I don't repair, I recreate. I don't patch holes, I rebuild foundations. I don't remodel broken structures. I establish new ones that are unshakable. But you have to hand over the keys. You have rewritten the same paragraph too many times, hoping for a different ending. But only I know how this was supposed to unfold. And I promise you, what I have written for you is not a tragedy. It is a testimony. But the next scene won't begin until you put the pen down. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to believe that I am. Let me write, let me lead, let me finish the story. The enemy tried to convince you it would never begin again. It feels like things are falling apart, like everything you thought was stable is slipping through your fingers. But I am not taking to punish you. I am making room for what cannot be shaken. You have been holding tightly to what was always temporary. And now I am pulling it away, not because you failed, but because I am ready to give you something permanent. What you are calling loss, I am calling exchange. You cried when they left, you panicked when the plan collapsed, you grieved when the door didn't reopen. But behind every subtraction, I was preparing a divine replacement, not just a new version of what left, something completely different, something rooted in my covenant, not in inconvenience. You thought the pain was abandonment, but it was positioning. I had to remove what couldn't carry the weight of your next season. Not everyone is equipped to go where I am sending you. Not everything you clung to was built on truth. And now that I have removed it, you are beginning to see what I always knew. It wasn't meant to last, but what I am giving you now has no expiration date. The people I am sending carry alignment, not attachment. The blessings I am releasing have been through fire, tested, refined, designed for longevity. And the peace you are about to walk in doesn't waver. When storms rise, it anchors you. I am rebuilding with materials that don't rot, with wisdom that can't be manipulated, with truth that doesn't bow to emotion, but to place it in your hands. I had to first remove the counterfeits you kept calling security. I watched you try to resurrect things I buried. I watched you defend seasons I closed. You begged me to breathe life back into what I had already called finished. But I love you too much to answer prayers that would keep you bound to cycles. So I stripped it slowly at first, then suddenly, until all that was left was you and me. And now that you have come through the valley, now that your hands are finally free of what drained you, I can fill them, but not with what you expect, because what I am giving doesn't come wrapped in familiarity. It doesn't look like what left. It doesn't sound like what broke you. It doesn't carry the same texture as the last season. That is how you will know it is from me. The new won't compete with the old. It will replace it entirely. You won't need to question it. You won't need to chase it. You won't need to prove your worth to keep it. Because what is ending this season will be peace that confirms itself without your striving. You are not losing. You are exchanging. And what is being handed to you now will never walk away when it gets hard. It will never abandon you in the valley. It will not break under pressure because it is rooted in covenant, birthed from obedience, protected by my presence, and designed to remain. Yes, you have had to let go. Yes, you hurt. Yes, there were nights you didn't think you would recover from what I asked you to release. But I was never being cruel. I was being careful. I was protecting what is eternal in you. I was removing what only knew how to love part of you, not the whole version of who I created you to be. And now, as I rebuild you from the inside out, I will place people, purpose, peace, and provision in your life that won't vanish with time. This is the difference. The last season gave you what was convenient. This one gives you what is consecrated. I am not returning what was lost. I am delivering what was promised. What I am bringing now doesn't bend to moods. It doesn't run at the sight of tension. It stands. It abides. It grows. And most importantly, it stays. So wipe your eyes. Breathe deeply. You are not being emptied anymore. You are being filled with everything you were created for. And this time, it is not leaving because I am the one who placed it. And what I place within you, I preserve. You have been pleading for peace, asking for real, lasting, deep-down stillness to finally settle in your soul. But you keep standing in the middle of tension I never approved. You are begging me to quiet the storm outside, yet your hands are still gripping the window latch of the very place letting the chaos in. I did not send the confusion you are feeling. I did not unlock that chaotic path. You did. And now you are calling it spiritual warfare, when, in reality, it is simply the weight of holding on to things I told you to let go of. You say you want rest, but you are entertaining people I never sent. You say you want clarity, but you keep returning to situations I have already marked as finished. You say you want peace, but you have normalized the noise. I love you too much to let you find comfort in something that is cursing your growth. That is why everything in your spirit feels unsettled right now. That is why you cannot seem to fully exhale. No matter how much you try to numb the ache, you feel it, because you are still tied to what I told you to release. You have cracked the door open for voices that were never meant to enter this chapter of your life. You have invited back habits that disguise themselves as help, but they are hollow. They drain you. They distract you. And still, you keep asking me to fix the mess they make, but I cannot bless what I did not build. You want me to calm the storm while you cling to an anchor I never placed. You must understand that peace is not a magic dust I sprinkle over dysfunction. Peace is the result of alignment, and true alignment requires severing ties with what is pulling you apart. There are conversations you keep revisiting, hoping the outcome will change, but I have already spoken. There are environments you keep placing yourself in, hoping they will finally understand you, but I have already removed my covering from that space. If I did not initiate it, I will not sustain it. You are exhausted, not because I am far away, but because you are spread too thin, trying to maintain what I never asked you to carry. I have shown you which doors were mine. Kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. I made it clear which paths carried my wind, but you were drawn to the ones that glittered, the ones that promised fast returns, easy comfort, and familiar rhythms. And now you sit in the center of a storm of your own choosing, wondering why peace won't descend. It can, but not here. Not like this. Not while you keep one foot in my promise and one foot in your preference. I did not call you to compromise. I did not whisper you into stillness just so you could fill the silence with old noise. The door you opened, I stood on the other side warning you. Not shouting, but firm. You heard me, but your hope for a different outcome made you ignore the tone. I get it. You wanted it to work. You wanted to fix it, to rescue it, to make it holy. But some things cannot be made right. They must simply be released. Until you do that, peace will remain outside the frame. I am not holding it back from you. You are holding it back because peace only walks through doors I have ordained. You will never find it where compromise lingers. You will never experience it in atmospheres built on pretending. So now I am asking you, are you ready to close it? Are you ready to shut the access to lock what was never meant to reopen? I will not force you. I won't slam it shut for you, but I will keep calling you until the tension becomes unbearable. Not because I want to see you suffer, but because I want you to finally see how unnecessary the suffering is. One decision, one clean break, one honest moment where you stop trying to fix what I already labeled finished, and peace will flood in. Not a temporary calm, and not surface-level quiet, but true rest thinking that saturates your bones, the kind that lifts the fog, the kind that steadies your breath and anchors your soul. It is waiting, I am waiting, but I will not bring it through a door I never opened. Close it, walk away, let peace meet you on the other side of your surrender. Stand now, physically if you can, and mentally close that door. Take a single action this week that seals it. There are people you love who cannot follow you into what I am building next. Not because they are evil, but because their assignment in your life has expired. You have confused loyalty with alignment, thinking that the longer someone stays, the more they belong. But time does not determine destiny. Obedience does. You keep dragging connections into future territory they were never designed to endure. You are pleading for me to bring peace to relationships I have already removed my hand from, but I will not anoint what I have detached, and I will not bless what you keep forcing. You think you are being faithful, but you are actually being delayed. There is a vast difference between compassion and compromise, between discernment and denial. I gave you glimpses. I warned you through silence, through restlessness, through that unshakable heaviness that never lifted when they entered the room. You ignored the warning because you didn't want to be the one who walked away. You kept trying to carry them, convinced they would eventually catch the vision. But not everyone is meant to see what you see. Some were placed near you for a season, not a covenant. They clapped for you in public, but their spirit was never in agreement with your direction. And now you are confused because the tension feels like betrayal. But what you are calling betrayal is really exposure. I did not show you their true posture to wound you. I revealed it so you wouldn't carry sabotage into your next chapter. If I let them come, they would choke the roots before the fruit ever bloomed. They would camouflage competition as companionship. They would speak subtle doubt into places meant to hold divine instructions. Their presence would pollute the purity I am demanding from you right now. And that is why I am cutting ties. I am not asking you to hate them. I am asking you to release them. Bless them, but leave them. Honor what was, but stop trying to resurrect it. Your elevation is not a group project. Your breakthrough requires clarity, and clarity demands separation. You cannot step into new dimensions while dragging the weight of divided loyalties. You have cried about feeling stuck, not realizing the emotional entanglements you have nurtured are the very cords holding you back. I am not being harsh, I am being holy. Because what I am doing in you requires space, sacredness, and focus. You are carrying something heavy in the spirit, something that demands consecration, and anything that distracts you from that must be removed. Not just sin, but excess. Not just rebellion, but resistance. If it competes with my voice, it must go. You are not being cruel by moving on. You are being obedient. And obedience always looks like rebellion to those who refuse to grow. But you were not called to keep everyone comfortable. You were called to walk in truth. And truth will cost you proximity. The room is getting smaller, not because you are failing, but because the calling is becoming sharper. I am narrowing your circle to expand your impact. I am cutting through the noise so you can hear me without interference. And I am doing it quickly because time can no longer be wasted explaining what I have already confirmed. You are not cold for letting go. You are becoming refined. You are not prideful for setting boundaries. You are finally protecting what I planted. Anyone offended by your pursuit of me was never truly for you. They were for who you used to be when you were more manageable, less focused, easier to manipulate. But you are not that person anymore. You have been forged in fire, tested in silence, rebuilt in the wilderness, and now you must walk forward without apologizing for the path I have made clear. I cannot come with you into the compromise. Not this time, not on this level, not with what I am about to do through you. Release them. Let me carry what you cannot explain. Trust me with the space they leave behind. Because what I am sending in their absence will be pure, precise, and undeniably mine. What feels like rejection, what has been mistaken for punishment, what you have called loss and abandonment, none of it was me turning against you. It was me reaching in with urgency to snatch you out of what was moments away from falling. You only saw the surface. You only saw smiles, promises, and progress. But I saw the fault lines beneath it all. I saw the slow decay hidden behind the structure. You were standing in a place that looked stable, but the foundation was already splitting. And because you couldn't see what was forming beneath, you clung to it as if it would carry you into the future. But child, if I hadn't stepped in when I did, it wouldn't have just delayed you. It would have buried you. I let the shake come before the final collapse. I interrupted the fantasy you built around what you wanted so I could rescue the purpose that was quietly suffocating beneath the weight of it. It wasn't punishment. This was protection, disguised in discomfort. You felt me strip away what you thought you needed. But what I actually removed was the threat hiding behind your expectations. You wanted me to bless what you were building, but I was never the architect. I watched you try to salvage what I already marked unstable. You kept praying for me to restore what was never supposed to be part of your restoration. I love you too much to answer prayers that would keep you bound to cycles. So yes, I intervened. Yes, I let it end. Yes, I let them walk. Yes, I allowed it to shut down, because if I hadn't, you would have been standing in the middle of a crumbling promise, wondering why I didn't show up. But I did show up. I just didn't come the way you wanted. I came fast, I came firm, I came without explanation, because this was the kind of rescue that didn't need a speech. It just needed surrender. You won't always understand the urgency of my response while you are still emotionally attached to the thing I removed, but clarity will find you later. When you look back, you will see it. I did not abandon you. I shielded you. I took your hand while you still thought you had time. I led you away from what was about to blow up. And no, you didn't get to say goodbye. You didn't get closure. You didn't get a neat, clean ending because the rescue wasn't surgical. It was sudden. There was no time for long explanations. There was no space for dragging your feet. There was only one thing I needed: your movement. And even though you didn't understand, you followed. Even though it hurt, you trusted. Even though it felt unfair, your spirit knew I was doing something beyond what you could comprehend in the moment. You were not being cast out. You were being called out of instability, out of distraction, out of cycles that would have eventually made you question me altogether. You keep looking for reasons, but what you really need is revelation. This is not discipline for doing something wrong. This is rescue because you have been chosen for something higher. And what I am preparing for you requires uninterrupted space. It requires you to stand on ground that doesn't shift. I couldn't let you continue building in a place already marked for collapse. That would have been negligence, not love. And I am not careless with my children. I uproot, I remove, I pull suddenly when what is ahead demands it. You thought you were being punished, but what really happened is this. I pulled you out before the whole thing fell apart, and you never knew how close it came. You never saw the full danger, and that is grace. Because now, instead of rebuilding from rubble, you are starting fresh with clean ground. You have room now. You have clarity. You have access to peace that won't be disturbed by the cracks of yesterday. Let go of the lie that you failed. You didn't fail. You were spared. You kept checking for signs, scanning the horizon, listening for anything that felt like confirmation, but all you found was stillness. You interpreted my quiet as distance. You assumed because you couldn't hear me, I must have withdrawn, but I never left. I wasn't absent. I was fully engaged, completely involved, carefully aligning every unseen thread in your life. While you questioned whether I still cared, I was busy authoring answers that required no announcement. Sometimes the greatest works I do in your life are wrapped in silence so thick you mistake it for abandonment. But what you didn't realize is that in the unseen chambers of your future, I was rearranging the very things you have been crying out for. Not loudly, but precisely. You were looking for noise. I was looking for timing. You were ready to move. I was busy making sure the next step didn't break under your feet. That pause you hated wasn't punishment. It was patience being applied with purpose. You asked me why doors weren't opening yet, but I was still sanding the edges of those doors so they would swing freely when it's time. I was smoothing the hinges, oiling the latches, preparing what you don't even know you will need. If I had responded in the way you wanted, you would have thought it was because of your effort. But I didn't need your performance. I needed your trust. I didn't remain silent to test your love for me. I stayed silent so that your roots would grow deep enough not to be swayed when the noise of the next season starts. Because when things get loud, when attention comes, when blessings pour and people surround you, I needed to make sure you weren't shaken by applause or confused by opinions. I didn't want your heart anchored to the rush. I wanted your faith strong enough to know that even when I whisper, I am working. You thought I wasn't listening, but I heard every unspoken ache. I felt every midnight plea. I noticed every time you held back tears just to stay strong for someone else. And while you were pushing through, I was gathering every moment into a divine blueprint. The reason I didn't show you the full picture yet is because you would have tried to help me finish it your way. But child, your story is not a group project. I am the sole author of what is unfolding. My silence was not neglect. It was divine attention. I wasn't ignoring you. I was shielding you from distractions that would have pulled your heart in 10 directions. I needed you still long enough to receive. You were in a holy waiting room, not a forgotten corner. I placed you in a pause, not because you weren't ready for answers, but because your surroundings weren't ready to handle your arrival. When you wondered if I stopped speaking, I was actually speaking through every delay, every redirection, every moment that didn't go your way. I was teaching you how to recognize my movement even when your emotions didn't feel it, because I am raising you into someone who walks by truth, not by sensory feedback. You are being trained to operate in maturity, not emotional reaction. You are being equipped to be entrusted with more than just miracles. I am preparing you to carry my mission, and missions are not built on noise. They form in the secret place, in rooms of silence where noise can't distract and ego can't compete. So do not confuse quiet with neglect. Do not mistake stillness for distance. When I seem most hidden, that is when I am working most thoroughly. You will look back on this quiet season with awe, realizing it was the most strategic shift of your life. Not because of what you saw, but because of what I was doing when no one else noticed. And when it all unfolds, when the stage is finally revealed, when what I have been constructing opens wide before you, you won't just thank me for the victory. You will thank me for the silence that made it possible. You didn't know that what you were praying for so desperately would have destroyed you if it came too soon. You were pleading with me to speed things up, but I was intentionally slowing them down. not because I didn't want to bless you, but because I love you too much to let you carry what would have crushed you. There are weights disguised as winds, and I refuse to watch you collapse beneath something I didn't equip you for. I heard you when you said, "Why not now?" I felt the urgency behind your prayers, the ache behind your worship, the silent cries that screamed louder than your voice ever could. But I still said no, not out of cruelty, but out of protection. What you perceived as delay was my mercy clothed in restraint. You thought I was holding something back from you, when in truth, I was holding you back from something that looked attractive, but was built on unstable ground. I saw the cracks in that opportunity you were chasing. I saw the hidden motives behind the people you wanted to be closer to. I saw how the spotlight you were running after would have exposed your wounds before they were healed. And rather than letting your potential outpace your preparation, I chose to wrap you in delay so that you would grow into the strength required to handle what is coming next. You have no idea how many traps I dismantled while you complained, how many setups I turned into shut doors, how many times I intervened right before you stepped into a place where you would have lost yourself trying to win people who never had your best in mind. You were disappointed, but I was defending you. You were impatient, but I was insulating your destiny from sabotage disguised as opportunity. Because I am not interested in quick results. I am invested in your lifelong transformation. You keep measuring your progress by what is happening outside of you, but I have been doing my greatest work inside of you. While you have been waiting for external evidence, I have been developing internal capacity. Because the blessing I am bringing is weighty and it requires more than excitement. It requires endurance, and endurance is not gifted. It is forged in the fires of delay. You don't build spiritual stamina in seasons of constant reward. You build it when nothing seems to change, yet you stay faithful anyway. You build it when you sow seeds and see no fruit, but keep watering anyway. You build it when doors remain shut, but you keep knocking anyway. That is where a legacy is born, not in the rush, but in the roots. You thought I was wasting time, but I was preparing the time to serve you instead of devour you. Because time is either a servant or a thief, depending on whether you walk with me or ahead of me. I didn't withhold. I preserved. I didn't deny. I delayed so that the appointed hour would carry not just what you asked for, but what you didn't even know you needed. And when it comes, not if, but when, it will come in such fullness, such divine sequence, that you will understand why I made you wait. You will no longer call it delay. You will call it deliverance from anything less than what I meant for you. Child, I love you too much to let impatience lead your life. I refuse to let your desperation dictate your direction. I know how eager you are, but I also know what waits beyond this moment, and I will not allow you to sabotage your tomorrow by forcing what isn't fully matured today. The delay is not a void. It is a vault where I am storing the weight of glory I am about to release over your life. And if you trust me, if you stay the course without shortcuts, you will walk into something so precisely prepared, so perfectly aligned, that you will fall to your knees. Not because it finally happened, but because you will realize I had your future secured long before your faith felt strong. This isn't the end. This is still preparation. And what is coming isn't a maybe. It is a manifestation, not rushed, not broken, but whole, refined, and undeniable. You thought I was absent, when in fact I was writing. You assumed the quiet meant I stopped speaking, but my silence wasn't neglect. It was intentional artistry. Just because you couldn't hear me doesn't mean I wasn't active. I was speaking in strokes beyond sound. I was designing your next steps with divine precision, using stillness as my brush and eternity as my vision. You called it a void, but it was a veil, hiding sacred strategies not meant for premature exposure. I wasn't punishing you with quiet. I was protecting the blueprint from interruption. In the realm of men, silence is often rejection. But in my kingdom, silence is incubation. When the seed is under the soil, it appears dead. But hidden life is forming in dimensions the surface cannot perceive. That was you, buried and not forgotten, covered and not discarded, surrounded by what felt like divine absence, but truly wrapped in the thickest layer of my presence, where revelation doesn't come in noise, but in knowing. I wasn't talking because I was watching you listen beyond the volume. I was watching if you could trust my heart when my hands weren't obvious. Every prayer you whispered into what felt like an empty heaven, I gathered them. I didn't miss a single syllable. While you were shouting into the silence, I was scripting encounters that will rewrite how you see delay, how you perceive absence, how you define intimacy with me. The silence you feared is about to become the soundtrack of your miracle. Because what I release in the stillness carries the weight to shift generations. I wasn't ignoring you. I was inviting you into maturity where faith walks not by sight, and worship is no longer based on answered prayers but on anchored identity. You weren't being punished. You were being promoted into depths where only the rooted ones go, into dimensions where noise dies and discernment is born, where your ears get trained to feel me more than hear me. Kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. Because the path ahead will not always come with explanations, but it will always come with my hand guiding it. I allowed the silence so you would stop depending on signs and start standing on my character. You needed the stillness not to hear less, but to hear differently. The silence taught you to seek me. Not just my voice, it stripped away every performance-based relationship you had with me. No longer were you eating scripture to get answers. You began opening my word just to meet me. No longer did you worship for breakthrough. You started worshiping because I was enough. That shift shook hell and activated something in the heavens over your life. That shift is what qualified you for what is coming next. Because now your foundation isn't built in what I do, it is rooted in who I am, and that cannot be shaken. You feared I left, but, child, I made your very breath. I sit inside your ribs. I stand in your future while healing your past. I orchestrate every heartbeat with sovereign orchestration. I cannot abandon what I died to redeem. My silence was never separation. It was sacred space. I was letting you outgrow the noise so you could recognize the whisper of my spirit in crowds, in chaos, in crisis. That kind of sensitivity cannot be taught. It must be forged, and I chose to forge it in you. What is coming will require that kind of intimacy, because when the next door opens, it won't just be opportunity, it will be opposition too. And I needed you ready, not just anointed, but aligned. Not just gifted, but grounded. Not just excited, but equipped with the discipline to wait, the discernment to move, and the endurance to remain unshaken. All of that was cultivated in the silence. all of that was hidden in the place you almost walked away from. So look again, beloved. That silence wasn't empty. It was the sound of me building the stage where I will reveal what I wrote for you while you waited in the shadows. And when the curtain lifts, it won't just be your season. It will be my story unfolding in you. You felt denied, but I was deterring you. Not because you were unworthy, but because what was behind those doors couldn't sustain what I planted inside you. You thought they closed because you failed, but they shut because I succeeded in shielding you. Had I let them open, they would have robbed you of time, drained your strength, and diminished your identity. So I sealed them, not to hurt you, but to preserve you. Not every opportunity is a blessing. Some are traps dressed in opportunity's disguise. And I love you too much to let you walk into a future built on illusions. You prayed for favor, and I gave you boundaries. You asked me to lead, and I rerouted you away from applause into alignment. You begged for recognition, and I offered refinement because the kind of purpose I placed in you isn't for shallow rooms. It is for foundations that can bear weight, for seasons that won't collapse when the pressure comes. I removed you from platforms that celebrated your performance but ignored your character. I dismantled timelines that would have rushed you past healing and buried you beneath pressure. You called it delay, but I call it mercy. Every closed door was me setting the stage for what your eyes hadn't seen yet. While you were focused on what didn't work, I was securing what could not fail. The detour was not a punishment. It was an invitation to step out of survival and into stewardship. You were about to settle, but I intervened. You almost compromised, but I whispered, "Not here." You were tempted to adapt to mediocrity, but stirred discomfort inside you so you wouldn't mistake comfort for calling. I allowed frustration to save you from forfeiting the fullness of what I am building in you. Your destiny was never meant to shrink into places you had to beg to enter. It is why I removed you before it broke you. That is why I unsettled your spirit in rooms where you tried to convince yourself you belonged. I didn't let them pick you because I already marked you. You were chosen, not just invited. You were appointed, not just accepted. And those I call, I also prepare. I strip away attachments to approval. I untangle you from needing validation. I interrupt cycles where you keep returning to what is familiar just to avoid the fear of the unknown. What you didn't realize is that every detour was also a disguise, hiding you from those who would have misused your light. I concealed you behind no's, because premature exposure would have corrupted the purity of what I am forming. There is a pace to my plan, and though it feels painfully slow, it is perfectly timed. I am not just arranging circumstances, I am shaping your capacity. I am not just organizing events, I am anchoring your endurance, because what is coming is heavy with glory. And only vessels reinforced in the secret place can carry it without cracking. You didn't miss it. You were rescued. You didn't lose. You were spared. What you thought was rejection was really my blood. My redirection map. Routing your soul away from lesser thrones toward a kingdom inheritance. I didn't send you to be tolerated in space that cannot perceive your worth. I raised you for realms that recognize my signature on your life. You weren't built for rooms that tolerate you when you shrink. You were built to reign atmospheres that are unlocked when you stand in the full truth of who I made you to be. The future I have prepared for you requires freedom from every idol you built around opportunity. That is why I allowed them to walk away. That is why I let certain doors close, without explanation. Because you were never meant to chase after what didn't choose you. You were created to rise into what I have already chosen for you, and the next time you see a door slam shut, don't mourn. Smile. You just got redirected again. And where I am sending you next, no man's decision can override what I have ordained. My beloved, while you looked for signs of inclusion, I was orchestrating your emergence in places no one thought to look for you. You were never called to blend into the expectations of others. I have been setting you apart to disturb cycles, shift atmospheres, and break generational strongholds. You kept wondering why nothing around you looked familiar, why you felt misaligned with everything that seemed popular or accepted. It is because I wasn't shaping you for what is. I was shaping you for what has never been seen before. You carry an assignment that requires difference, not duplication. I know the ache of feeling invisible. I watched as you gave your best and still went unrecognized. But I never forgot you. I was hiding you. Hidden not because you lacked value, but because premature exposure would have misdefined your identity. While others were being celebrated, I was carving your soul into the kind of person who doesn't crumble under the weight of responsibility. You were not being overlooked, you were being preserved. And when the moment comes, when I unveil you, no one will be able to deny that it was I who positioned you. Not people, not titles. Platforms can be stolen, but what I anoint can never be touched by the hands of envy. So I set you apart. I distanced you from crowds that would have diluted your voice. I separated you from patterns that would have conditioned you to settle. I placed you in rooms of silence so your ears would tune into my frequency. Every moment you felt like a stranger. You were being reminded that your home is not in their systems, but in my kingdom. And those who carry my authority will never find comfort in conformity. Even when it hurt, I kept you hidden. Even when you begged to be seen, I whispered, "Not yet." Because I was still chiseling the parts of you that would have compromised under pressure. I was uprooting the insecurities that would have sought approval over obedience. I was stripping you of your need to explain yourself so that when I launch you forward, your confidence won't be in their applause. It will be in my commission. I was teaching you how to carry vision without validation, how to walk in rooms without shrinking, how to release truth without fear of being misunderstood. You were not forgotten in the crowd. You were separated for a cause. You were not cast aside. You were marked to rise when others collapse. The reason it felt so lonely wasn't because I abandoned you, but because I was drawing you into sacred alignment. I needed your heart undistracted, your motives purified, your focus sharpened. Because the places I am sending you aren't for performance, they are for warfare. And warriors cannot be trained in popularity. They are forged in the fire of solitude. You are not just going to show up, you are going to show up carrying fire that cannot be extinguished. And when the doors open, they won't just open with your name on them. They will open because your presence is the key I fashioned long before the foundations of this world. You won't need to campaign to be noticed. You won't have to knock twice. I will go before you. I will clear the path. And those who once overlooked you will witness the authority I have clothed you in. Not for pride, but so they see that it was never man who raised you. It was your obedience, your endurance, your silence when you could have retaliated, and your faith when everything looked barren. I didn't raise you to compete. I raised you to dominate in grace. I didn't build you to be liked. I formed you to be light. And in the coming days, you will step into moments that look impossible, but they will open because you are the only one who carries the code. The time of hiding is nearing its end. The unveiling is close, but even then, stay low before me. Don't exalt yourself, I will exalt you. Don't explain, I will confirm you. Don't rush, I will align every detail. And when you stand there, know this: you were never late. You were preserved for such a time as this. My child, when the winds began to roar and the foundation beneath your feet trembled, you cried out, wondering why I had allowed it. You searched for a way out, desperate for a break, pleading for calm. But I tell you now, the turbulence wasn't punishment, it was preparation. I permitted the storm because I knew what was inside of you. You didn't believe in your own strength yet. You hadn't realized the authority you carried in my name. You underestimated what your spirit could handle, but I did not. I knew the storm would not swallow you. I knew it would shake you but no end you. I was not testing you to see if you would fail. I was allowing pressure to unveil the champion I have been raising in secret. There were things you only learned because the wind wouldn't stop. When everything felt unstable, you reached deeper than you ever had before. You cried out not with routine words, but with desperation. And that was where your real breakthrough began. In the silence of the storm, I was training your ears to hear me through the noise. When the familiar was gone, I was building your trust on something eternal. It is easy to say you believe when everything aligns, but I permitted contradiction, so your faith would stop depending on feelings and start anchoring itself in my word. You must understand, I don't delight in your suffering, but I do rejoice in your perseverance. Every tear you cried in the darkness was collected. Every sleepless night was noticed. But instead of removing the hardship, I entered into it with you. I stood in the fire beside you. You weren't abandoned. You were being developed. And when the enemy tried to convince you that the chaos would break you, I whispered, "Stand firm, child. You are not breaking. You are being fortified." I wasn't watching from afar. I was holding you together when you felt like you were falling apart. My presence wasn't loud, it was consistent. I didn't leave for a second. Some lessons only come in pressure. You discovered how to pray differently. You learned to speak from a place of authority rather than anxiety. The storm refined your discernment. You now recognize deception because you have seen how it tries to mask itself as peace. You know what true alignment feels like because the shaking exposed every false anchor. When the storm removed certain people, I know it hurt, but I needed the weight of false attachments to fall off. Not everyone who walked with you could walk into where you're going. The storm was my mercy. It disconnected you from what would have kept you bound later. Now when you enter new places, you will walk in with a quiet confidence. You won't second-guess your assignment. You won't apologize for the fire you carry. You won't entertain distractions disguised as opportunities. You will walk in clarity because you found it in the chaos, and others will ask how you remained steady while everything around you collapsed. They won't understand how you're still standing, but I will. I watched you surrender when noon saw your pain. I heard you forgive when you had every right to be bitter. I saw you worship when the answers didn't come. You passed the test. Not because you had all the answers, but because you didn't quit. This is why I can trust you with more. This is why elevation is coming. This is why the oil on your life will overflow in this season. You weren't forged in applause. You were forged in adversity. That is what makes your anointing weighty. That is what gives your words power. You didn't inherit your wisdom. You bled for it. And now when you speak, Atmospheres will respond, chains will break, darkness will tremble, because what came out of the storm was not just survival, it was transformation. You are not the same person. You are stronger, purer, and more aligned with me than ever before. So take a breath. Look around. The storm didn't destroy you. It positioned you. And now, as the clouds part and light breaks through, walk forward boldly. What once terrified you now fears you, because the storm didn't steal your purpose. It solidified it. And from this day forward, every step you take will carry the evidence of victory forged in fire. You saw it as delay, as a holding pattern that stretched you beyond reason. But I saw it as the divine incubation of your purpose. You called it stuck. I called it sacred. While you were frustrated by the stillness, I was molding strength into your bones and wisdom into your spirit. You wanted acceleration, but acceleration without foundation leads to collapse. I could have given you what you asked for, but it would have crushed the version of you who hadn't yet learned how to breathe under pressure. So, I slowed the rhythm of your story until your soul learned to walk in step with mine. The waiting wasn't punishment. It was preservation. You didn't lose time. You gained depth. While the world moved ahead, comparing, competing, striving, you were hidden in my refining room. I wasn't just preparing your promise. I was preparing you to hold it without breaking. I allowed loneliness, so you would learn that presence doesn't equal peace. I allowed silences so your spirit could recognize my voice without confusion. I delayed applause so your motives could be purified from the need to perform. You wanted progress, I wanted permanence, and permanence cannot be built in shallow faith. That is why I stripped away distractions. That is why I closed doors that looked perfect. That is why I rerouted what you thought was certain. Because the greater the promise, the deeper the preparation must go. Every tear that fell in the stillness watered the soil of destiny beneath your feet. Every unanswered prayer was an unseen yes, being layered beneath the surface, growing roots strong enough to outlast every coming storm. You kept asking when, but I kept asking, will you trust me here? Because the waiting is where warriors are born. It is where trust matures from words into posture. It is where praise becomes power. And while you called it delay, I was shaping your discernment, sharpening your spiritual sensitivity, so that when I speak again, you will not just hear, you will understand. You won't confuse open doors with distractions, nor close doors with defeat. You will know my rhythm because you learned it in the quiet. I needed to build endurance inside of you. The kind that doesn't crumble when things don't go your way. The kind that praises when there is no progress. The kind that stays when everyone else scatters. I was not ignoring your prayers. I was anchoring your purpose. You wanted movement, but I wanted mastery. I wanted you to master peace, to master obedience, to master faithfulness even when no one clapped, even when results didn't come. Because the one I am raising cannot be motivated by visible reward. The one I am sending must move by conviction, not convenience. And now look at you. Stronger, wiser, more focused. You can sense me in ways you couldn't before. You no longer panic when doors close because you have seen me open better ones. You don't break when people walk away because you have learned that my presence is enough. You have grown into someone I can trust with influence because you no longer need it to feel significant. This is why I let you wait, not to make you weary, but to make you ready. To teach you that waiting is not idle. It is active trust, to show you that patience is not weakness, it is divine precision, I didn't waste your time, I transformed your timeline. Every delay, every detour, every not yet was perfectly synchronized to prepare you for what is about to unfold. You will soon understand why it couldn't come sooner, because now you can sustain what is coming. You can lead without losing yourself. You can bless without becoming proud. You can rise without forgetting who lifted you. Now the season shifts. The waiting is closing, and the unveiling begins. What you have been expecting is stepping toward you, not as a reward, but as a recognition of readiness. This is the moment where patience meets purpose. This is where all those quiet nights turn into radiant dawn. The things that made no sense will suddenly align with precision. And when they do, remember this: the waiting was a womb. It birthed the warrior, it birthed the worshiper, it birthed the one I called from before time began. Nothing was wasted. Not a day, not a tear, not a moment. Every second was sacred, every pause was prophetic, every delay was divine. The waiting made you who you were meant to be, and now you are ready to carry what was once only a promise. If this spoke to you, respond, type or say amen. And then bless someone by sharing these words. Let this be the ripple you start. Amen.